Hello and welcome to Swell Season Surf Radio. I'm your co-host, Tyler Brewer, and I am joined by my other co-host and contributor to Swell Season, Miss Karen B. Song. How you going, Karen?
I'm doing great. Especially
Yeah, how's your pie?
pie is very good.
Yeah.
Especially after a few surf sessions, it's been
serious.
Fun out. So, yeah, summer logging. It doesn't get better than that when it's, glassy and sparkly out there.
I feel like there should be a rendition of the Grease song "Summer Loving," but "Summer Logging had me a blast."
Someone was singing that in the lineup today. Not your version of it, but the original song.
How good would that be, though? Someone with a voice should do that.
God.
Maybe one of our listeners can do a rendition of it. A bunch of really bad ideas, maybe.
So good, so bad.
So good they're bad. Karen, you did a great interview that we're going to be listening to here. It's with Jungwon Kim. Now, she's the head of creative and editorial at the Rainforest Alliance, which is like, holy shit, that's such a cool job title. And that's an international organization focused on natural climate solutions and sustainable rural livelihoods. She's a native Californian who's lived in Brooklyn for 20 plus years, a mother of 2 teenage daughters, and a joyfully mediocre longboarder who started surfing at the tender age of 40. Or as Chaz Smith would call him, an adult learner. But I really love this interview, and I think our listeners are going to get a lot out of it. Like she's, can you just describe like a little bit about Jungwon, like what her personality is like? Because it's very calming, you listen to her voice and it's just very relaxing. So can you speak to like her personality, how you guys met, and yeah.
Well, I first, to preface it, I didn't really do a great job on this. It's all her. She's just brilliant. This woman's mind is really incredible, and she's a Capricorn like you, so super articulate and just super knowledgeable about everything, and knows how it all like kind of connects. And she has a very strong Zen Buddhist background. She practices meditation, and she follows Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings. And we've gone up to the retreat center upstate several times for silent retreats. It's been really amazing. She's been a great friend. She is a great friend on so many levels, and someone who's so knowledgeable about kind of everything going on in the world, and also how to alleviate a lot of the problems, or at least, she's just very active and involved in a lot of different things. She worked at the Amnesty International for a long time, after 9/11, working with Muslim communities in America, and she's done so many things. And now she's at the Rainforest Alliance doing really great things. She's like one of those people that like, now they will feature her. And she's just a leader and a great face to a lot of these kind of pressing issues, and how she's able to articulate things so well. And I think maybe it also has to do with her. I think it's her personality, but also her Buddhist practice that gives her that calm. And I think it's helped her a lot in her challenges as a mother of 2 teenagers, and how difficult that can be to navigate as a single mom in New York City. But she does it with such grace, and she looks like she's 20 years old, and that's really annoying how she can do all that.
Well, it's interesting, like, because I think like you guys tackle a little bit of that topic though, of like kind of surfing, learning to surf as an older person. Although you had some surfing experience.
I wouldn't really
before.
Call it surfing experience. I would call it near drownings. And I mean, I think you talk about it a lot in your through this podcast of what it was like in the 80s, right?
Hmm.
So many kind of obstacles to become a surfer. The wetsuit.
Yeah.
Remember what wetsuits were like back then? I mean, it was like a straitjacket. It was
Oh
so
man.
stiff. I found one recently, like when I was cleaning my parents, when I had to move out of move them out of my childhood home, and like finding this wetsuit from 1995, and it was just like, I don't even know what it was, just so stiff and not neoprene.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what
No.
it was.
I mean, his neoprene just dried out
Oh my
probably.
God. I just remember not wanting to get in anything other than like a 2 mil, like short sleeve,
Yeah. But yeah, it is interesting, that surfing is, and I think like the attitude was at some, in the past, like, well, it should be hard because if you want to do it, you
Right.
should persevere through that in some ways. Um,
But this is the
whether
unspoken part
that's
of it.
good is debatable,
I
for
don't know. This
surfing
is the
either.
unspoken part of it, and this is
Yeah.
something that we kind of touch upon in the podcast. Is that I do think that the sport, there is a lot of mentorship that happens that
Mm.
I don't think people really understand, that there are these kind of rites of passage, but they're kind of passed on. And so when you think about surfing being so like having a lack of diversity, it's
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, maybe it's a father to a son or father to a daughter, which is what you're seeing a lot now, right? And or in your community, your friends in that community, there's this thing that gets passed on. And if certain populations don't have those relationships with the people, then that thing doesn't get, there's so much to navigate in surfing, right? There's so many, just understanding the ocean and just understanding, even like I'm a person who I just need to see it done once in front of me or showed to me once and I got it. And if you don't know that, it's just like, I mean, I don't know if you remember the first time tying on like boards to a roof rack.
Oh yeah.
Like, what do you do? It looks so easy when someone does it, but you just need to be shown like once. And then, so I think there's a lot of this knowledge that gets passed on that we don't realize. And that was part of my struggle in my younger years, that I just try to figure it out. And because I was really like at the height of my athleticism, that I just thought I should be able to figure it out. And I won't go into it because we go into it in the podcast.
Yeah.
But I think that it's interesting to see this diversity and in the water now, and also more women in the water, because there are these communications and communities that have, kind of evolved over the last maybe 5-10 years even.
It is, and it's to speak to like the passing on of passing on traditional art. I surfing, it's always been, there's a lot of people were brought into it by someone. They were someone kind of, I don't want to say held their hand, but they introduced them, they motivated them, they were like, come on, we're going type of thing.
Right.
Many of us had that growing up, at least. And so as an adult, like, you have to really want to go to surf, and put yourself through humiliation in some ways, and to be,
that's the big one.
Just to, but I think it's something pretty admirable. And I think it's something important that many seasoned surfers should listen to, and, listen to these conversations and remind themselves of what it was like to start and, have to navigate. And there's a lot of stuff, I don't even think about sometimes. And you're like, oh, wow, yeah, you wouldn't know this, or you wouldn't have the understanding if you're not around it or have someone showing you that. You can watch YouTube videos and stuff nowadays, but it's still not quite the same.
Right.
So, and that encouragement is sometimes really what can get you hooked, is by being with someone and then, or getting a good wave in front of people, or someone giving you a little bit of a nod, after a good one. Like, that stuff, like, keeps you going in some ways.
Or if you have friends that you go with and you're all
Exactly.
cooking out, then you don't feel as kind of alone, and the ocean doesn't feel as scary because you're just having a sense of fun and play, and you can just be in the water enough to be able to figure it out. So there's a camaraderie, there's that sense of community.
And maybe I sometimes wonder if there's been a breakdown of, because of such a huge surge in new surfers at the turn of the century, particularly, locals might have been overwhelmed, and it's like tough to pass that on, to everyone. There's just not enough surfers to keep passing on those traditions too. And so you can get, I imagine the lineups got overwhelming in some ways, and it's hard to get to know everyone in the water these days because there's so many of us.
Yeah, but it's really funny because you still, I feel like a lot of people are creatures of habit. They go to certain breaks and you start to see the same people over and over again. And then also there's so many great community events for surfers in New York on dry land. For example, It Doesn't Not Work.
It was
by you. And the film festivals and, Rockaway Surf Club, there is a sense of community. Like, I feel like the community is really strong, and you have your core group of friends, but then you meet like their friends.
There are lots of bubbles.
Exactly. And they all start to overlap, and all of a sudden we have a real sense of who this community is in New York City. And then as we all travel, because New Yorkers are travelers, we all have to travel for the surf. But I think inherently as a state or as a city, we are a populace that travels a lot compared to maybe other places, that you then connect with, everyone, just especially in this day of social media, you just start to connect with all these different people in different, surf hubs. And it's really interesting, this idea of an international surf community.
And how lucky are we? We have such a rich community of interesting surfers who are, creative and editorial. They're head of creative and editorial at the Rainforest Alliance. Amazing. These are people who are having to do pretty extraordinary, jobs in some ways. So it's cool. I think it's good that there are a lot of really diverse and good, interesting mix of people out in the water, and it makes it so much more interesting and more fun to talk to sometimes.
Right. So I guess the moral
there's only
of the
so
story,
much WSL you can talk about,
Exactly. The moral of the story is that when you're in the lineup and you're about to yell at a kook, just know that person might be killing it out there in the world and doing something that, makes your life better somewhere.
It's true. So let's tee it off here. Why don't you lead us into it, Karen?
Oh, I'm so bad at this, Tyler.
Well, we first should mention, want to give a big shout out and thanks to Wax.radio, our host radio station, where we are airing now. And got to give Ben, co-host, a little shout out as well. Say hello to him. He's dealing with stuff. Hopefully surfing too. And then it
was great to see him at the paddle out.
It was awesome.
The second, when was that?
That was about 2 weeks ago now, the other paddle out. And they're going to have another one coming up on July 8th, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe not the 8th. It's in another 2 weeks. So also, if our listeners go visit Black Surfing Association of Rockaway, go check them out. You can find them on Instagram. And awesome. And that was where I got to meet Jungwon as well. So really cool. All right, Karen, lead us off here.
Here's Jungwon Kim. Gosh, I don't know why this stumps me every time. Tyler, you're good at this.